Hi there. What we're going to learn about right now is how to factor when we have rational exponents. In other words, when we have exponents that are fractions. So, first thing we're going to look at is taking out a GCF. We always know that's the first thing we do when we're going to factor. So, if we look at these two terms, we can clearly see 15 and 6 have a GCF or a greatest common factor of 3. That is old news. Now, when we look at these exponents, we have x to the 2/3 and x to the 5/3. Well, basically, we can take out or factor out the smaller exponent. So 2/3 is obviously less than 5/3. So we can take out x to the 2/3. That's kind of mushy, but I know you know it says 2/3. And then we go ahead and do that. So we do 15 divided by 3 is 5. X to the 2/3 divided by x to the 2/3 is 1. So that's good. Minus 6 divided by 3 is 2. And x to the 5/3 divided by x to the 2/3. Remember, we keep the base and we subtract the exponents. We would get x to the 3/3. And of course, 3/3 reduces to 1. So that is our factored form of that binomial. Let's go ahead and look at example 2, and it's going to work very much the same way. We look at 12, 8, and 6, and we say, okay, what's the biggest factor of 12, 8, and 6? And that would be 4. And now we look for the smallest exponent. So the smallest exponent will be negative 1/4, right? We have a positive, positive, and a negative, so it has to be the negative value. So we take out x to the negative 1/4. So now we kind of have to think about, okay, if I'm dividing each of these by 4x to the negative 1/4, 12 divided by 4 is 3. X to the 3/4 divided by x to the negative 1/4. Remember, you subtract the exponents. So we get 3/4 plus 1/4, which is 4/4, which is just 1. So x to the first. Then we have 8 divided by 4 is 2. X to the 1/2 divided by x to the negative 1/4 really means take the 1/2 and subtract negative 1/4. We're going to change that to plus a positive. And let's get some common denominators here. We'll have 2/4 plus 1/4 gives us x to the 3/4 minus 16 divided by 4 is 4. And x to the negative 1/4 divided by itself is just 1, so we're done. So far, so good, I hope. Okay, so the next couple of problems, we're going to be looking at factoring and solving with trinomials. So what I want you to notice here is that 2/3 is twice as big as 1/3. So if I had given you a problem that said I wanted you to factor x squared minus 3x plus 2, I know that you would know to factor that to say x minus 2 and x minus 1. Well, this is very similar. We look at our middle term, variable and exponent, and we know that's going to play a factor here. So we know, let's see, x to the 1/3 times x to the 1/3 will give us x to the 2/3. And now we kind of look at our numbers just like we did down here. And we say, well, negative 2 times negative 1 adds up to positive, or multiplies to be positive 2, and combines to be negative 3. So that's factored. So we just factored a trinomial with rational exponents. So let's take a look at example number 4. And again, very similar. If we look at, let's pretend that those weren't the exponents. Let's say we had x squared plus 5x plus 6. If you had to factor that out, you'd say, well, looking at these, I'll have x plus or minus something, x plus or minus something. Well, 2 times 3 equals 6. 2 plus 3 equals 5. So we would factor this to be x plus 2 times x plus 3. Well, we're going to do the same thing here, but we're going to factor it to be x to the 1/4 plus 2 times x to the 1/4 plus 3. And we are all set. So hopefully that was enough of a lesson for you to be able to do all of these problems right here. Okay. I will take you down to do one of these. Okay, and let's take a look at number 7. So number 7 starts off just like what we just did. So get that out of the way. So we're going to factor this, and we'll factor it to be x to the 1/3 minus 3 times x to the 1/3 minus 5. And it is set equal to 0, so we can use the zero product property. So we now have that we would set x to the 1/3 minus 3 equal to 0. And x to the 1/3 minus 5 equal to 0. We're going to move that 3 over. We're going to move that 5 over. So we get x to the 1/3 equals 3. And we'll do this one over here while we're at it. X to the 1/3 equals 5. Now, hopefully you remember that when you want to eliminate raising something to a rational exponent, we raise it to the reciprocal power. So the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1. So these cancel, and we get x equals 3 cubed. And you better know that one. That's 27. And over here, we raise this to the power of 3, or 3 over 1. And again, these will cancel. So we get x equals 125. And that's all we need to do. Have a wonderful day, everybody.